Do you ever notice how the dumbest people on the internet are also the most confident? I mean, really think about that for a second. The guy who thinks that the earth is flat, zero doubt. The guy who thinks we faked the moon landings, absolutely convinced. The chemtrail crowd, my favorite folks, looking up at the sky like they just cracked some global conspiracy. Meanwhile, the people who actually understand this stuff, the engineers, the scientists, the pilots, they're careful, measured. They say things like, based on the evidence or as far as we can tell. That gap right there should bother you because we've built a world where confidence is more persuasive than competence. And people would rather feel smart than actually do the work required to be smart. And yeah, we're going to talk about all of it. Flat earthers, moon landing deniers, chemtrail people, the whole NASA's lying to you crowd. And before someone jumps in with everyone's entitled to their opinion, no, not like this. You're entitled to your opinion about music, movies, food, politics. You're not entitled to your own version of reality, at least not when you're trying to convince other people or affect real change or be in a classroom. There's a difference between I don't like this and this thing that is objectively measurable and proven isn't real. And I, for one, am sick and tired of people being nice about this. One is an opinion. The other is you announcing to the world that you don't understand how anything works. And look, I'm not roasting people for not knowing things. Nobody knows everything. I don't know everything. Their entire subjects I won't even pretend to have an opinion on because I haven't put in the time to understand them. What I'm calling out is being aggressively wrong with zero curiosity. That's the part that's just insane to me. You don't understand physics. You don't understand basic math. You never studied astronomy, engineering, or anything even close to this, but you watched a couple of YouTube videos, maybe read a few posts, and now you've decided that thousands of years of scientific progress is just fake? Okay. But let's start with the flat earth people, because this one is just almost impressive how wrong it is. You have thousands of years of evidence that the earth is round, not guesses, but evidence. You can literally watch ships disappear over the horizon, not shrink, disappear from the bottom up. We have time zones, we have seasons, we have GPS systems that rely on satellites orbiting a spherical planet. Airplanes don't fly in straight lines on a map because the earth isn't flat. The routes only make sense on a globe. We have images from space. We have live video from orbit. We have astronauts from multiple countries who have seen it with their own eyes. And not just one country, multiple countries, some of which that don't like each other. And yet you've got people sitting at home going, nah, I think it's flat. Based on what? A video or a feeling? A diagram someone made in Microsoft Paint? Do you understand how ridiculous that is? You're using technology every single day that only works because the earth is not flat while arguing about it. That's not skepticism, that's delusion. Then we move on, kind of in the same crowd, but the moon landing people. We never went to the moon. All right, I'm going to try to walk through it slowly. Your theory is that during the Cold War, when the United States and the Soviet Union were competing for global dominance, the US faked a landing on the moon, and the Soviet Union, who had every reason in the world to expose that lie, just decided not to. They tracked the missions, they monitored the signals, they confirmed the trajectories. But sure, they were in on it too, right? So now it's not just NASA lying, it's every government, every scientist, every engineer, every space agency across the planet, all working together in perfect secrecy for decades. And nobody slipped up. Nobody leaked anything credible. Not one person out of the thousands involved says anything that holds up under scrutiny. But a guy on the internet with dramatic music and some slow zoom edits figured it all out. Yeah, that makes total sense. Now let's move on to my favorite folks, the chemtrail people. This one probably is my favorite. And I worked as an air traffic controller for 12 years. I got asked more times than I wish to remember about my thoughts on this. And it made my blood boil every time it got brought up. I mean, people legitimately messaging me on Facebook or stopping me in the store if they heard me saying I was an air traffic controller and they had legitimate questions. This one is unique. It requires you to ignore reality that you can literally see with your own eyes and understand with about 5 minutes of basic education. Those lines in the sky behind airplanes, those are contrails, condensation trails, hot engine exhaust hitting cold air at high altitude. Water vapor condenses and it freezes. That's it. That's the explanation. Very basic chemistry and physics involved here. But no, apparently it's a global operation where airlines, governments, pilots, engineers, ground crews, all of them are secretly spraying chemicals all over the population every day in plain sight. And no one involved ever says anything. No pilot ever comes forward with proof. No mechanic, no ground crew making minimum wage ever spills the beans. Just random people on Facebook connecting the dots that don't exist. And the craziest part is they'll stand there, look up at the sky and go, look at that, they're spraying us. I've seen people do it in person. No, you're looking at basic atmospheric physics and calling it a conspiracy because you don't understand it. And that's the common thread in all of this. It's not about uncovering truth. It's about misunderstanding something and then refusing to admit you don't understand it. That's it. People don't believe stupid things because they've done deep research. They believe stupid things because it makes them feel something. It makes them feel smarter than everyone else, like they're in on a secret, like they're not being fooled like the rest of the sheep. It's ego. It's insecurity dressed up as intelligence. And then you get the classic line, do your own research. No, you didn't do research. You watched content that agreed with you and ignored everything that didn't. That's not research. That's the definition of confirmation bias. Real research is slow. It's boring. It involves reading things that you don't fully understand and taking the time to learn them. It involves questioning your own conclusions. Most people don't want that. They want the feeling of being informed without doing anything required to actually become informed. And social media has made this 10 times worse because the more outrageous your claim is, the more attention you're going to get. No one's sharing a calm, well-reasoned explanation of orbital mechanics, but they will absolutely share everything you know is a lie with some intense background music. So what gets rewarded? Not truth, not accuracy, the most ridiculous, attention-grabbing nonsense. And now we've got a situation where people think loud equals right. Confident equals correct. Viral equals true. And none of those things have anything to do with reality. Confidence is not competence. Someone can be absolutely wrong and sound incredibly convincing, and someone can be extremely knowledgeable and sound cautious because they understand the complexity of what they're talking about. And the internet has trained people to trust the wrong one. And I think the hard truth people have coming to terms with is you're not immune to this. I'm not immune to this. There are things that you believe right now that are wrong. There are things that I believe right now that are wrong. The question is, are you willing to admit that? Or are you so attached to being right that you'll ignore evidence just to protect your ego? Because that's what this comes down to, not intelligence, not access to the information, just humility. If you actually want to not be one of these people, it's pretty simple. Slow down before forming strong opinions. If something instantly makes you feel smart or validated, that's a red flag, not a green light. Ask what the actual evidence is, not who said it, not how confident they sounded. What is the actual measurable, repeatable evidence? Learn the basics before you try to challenge entire fields of study. You don't need to be an expert, but maybe understanding the fundamentals before declaring that thousands of experts are all wrong. Look for opposing viewpoints, not to argue with them, but to test whether your belief actually holds up. And most importantly, get comfortable saying, I don't know. That one sentence will make you more intelligent than most people online, because this isn't just about flat earth or moon landing or chemtrail, folks. This is about something much, much bigger. We are slowly losing the ability to tell the difference between what feels true and what actually is true. And if that keeps going, we don't just get a few weird conspiracy theories. We get a society that can't solve real problems because you can't fix reality if you don't believe in it. So believe whatever you want. Seriously, like believe the earth is flat. Believe we never went to the moon. Believe airplanes are secretly spraying chemicals. Just understand this. Reality isn't something you get to debate. It's something you either understand or at least attempt to understand, or you get embarrassed by. And right now, a whole lot of people aren't just losing arguments. They're losing touch with how the world actually works. And that doesn't just make you wrong. It makes you a problem. Because while the rest of us are trying to figure things out, build better systems, push forward, you're standing there arguing with basic facts, slowing down the very progress that makes your life possible in the first place.